Okay, everybody, John Ferguson here. One more time, I wanted to get some information into your hands, as I said before in the video above. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to drill a little bit deeper into the question side. What I have found is a lot of times there are individuals who go through some of the preliminary training and don't really know how to dig deeper into questions and what that really means, on how to go from broad-based questions to pointed questions into targeted questions. And this is going to change your business. This is literally what changed for me. Is in the beginning I was, as I mentioned before, I was literally flying blind, and I was pitching to everybody, and I didn't know if they needed my product, if they liked my product, if they needed the solutions. It really didn't matter. I would just like tell everybody. And it wasn't until I learned how to ask better questions and then turned it into a formula for success that things really turned around. The questions that I asked built better in instant rapport and better relationships as I went along. It also made me an instant authority, because when you ask the proper questions to the right people, they tend to believe that you know what you're talking about. And, I'm saying that because I want you all to feel and understand you don't have to be an expert. This will help you become the expert just by knowing a little bit more than your prospect. And that's just even knowing the titles to what you're selling, some of the ingredients of your products, to the education and training that you're selling. And so this is a part of the iRise process that we trademarked in order to help individual salespeople sell more, especially in the network marketing and MLM industry, as well as if you do sales over the phone. This is brilliant for that. So I wanted to share this furthering training here with you. So let's go. Let's get in here. If you got pen and paper, I suggest writing some things down, taking a lot of notes. If you, as always, if you have questions, feel free to hit me up. I think Steven put the link to me, my Facebook, or a link for us to chat somewhere in here. So, but that way I can further the conversation, maybe help you guys with questions. Anyways, check this out. So first, we've got to ask the right questions. We have to understand what that is. So in the iRise process, we're at a part right here where we're talking about recording, okay? And that is just gathering information. So why do we ask questions? Why are we going to be recording information? The purpose for this goes far beyond what I thought in the very beginning. But let me ask you, why do you think we're asking questions? Why do you think we should be recording down the information? Seriously, right? It's important to know this information, because if we don't know why we're doing this. We don't know the target. Like, what's the goal? Is it to build a friendship? Is it to build a relationship? Is it to get a date? Is it to get a job? Is it to what? Like, what's your outcome? Like, what's the outcome? What's the desired result that you're after? And so here's the deal. Let me ask you this. Would it be to qualify? Would it be best to qualify your prospect, qualify the individual that you're speaking to, that they have a few things to help them move forward with you? And what would we be qualifying for? Well, let me kind of go over an idea here with you. Have you ever been to the doctor? I'm sure a few of you have, and I'm pretty sure that most of us came into this world with some type of a physician or midwife or somebody who helped bring us into the world. So, some type of person that had a lot more knowledge than us on being brought into the world, maybe brought us here. Or you've gone to the doctor for a shot or a checkup or something. Or you've just seen doctors on TV because you don't go to the doctor. I don't know. Maybe don't like doctors, but whatever. So, but right here, what happens when you go to the doctor? What's the first thing that they do? What do you do? Do you go in there and you're like, hey, I'm just not feeling really good. Would you check me out? My throat hurts, or, my head hurts, been having these headaches, or I've got this cough. What do the doctors do, right? Do they come into the office and say, hey, here's what we need to do. Thanks for telling me how you feel. First off, we're going to amputate your left foot. We're going to give you 1,000 pills of Vicodin, and you can take 5 a day. And then lastly, we are going to put you into immersion therapy and see how long you can breathe underwater, and maybe that'll elevate your oxygen levels. And I think you should be good after that. I think you'd be just fine. Like, you'd be perfect. Right? If you're thinking like I'm thinking, that's crazy. Like, who's going to amputate a foot for a head cold or for a cough. But that's it. That's the thing. In order for us to build the proper relationship that leads towards a sale, is what I'm talking about, and that's our outcome, right? For this, we want to get people into our business, and we want them to buy our product. Okay. Then we don't act like that. What do doctors do first? Well, they examine. Right? They start asking questions. They just kind of do a quick overview. That's why most of the time you have a nurse or a PA or somebody that's in the office or in the environment with you saying, hey, look, where do you feel? Where does it hurt? They start taking down notes. They're writing things down. They're taking your temperature. They're going to take your blood pressure. You feel your pulse. All of these things are examining you even before they go to the next step. Because if you're healthy, they're going to kick you out, man. If it's an emergency, they're going to send you to the hospital. So we got to know what the deal is. So initially, it's the examination, right? And the second part is diagnosis. Well, how do they diagnose you? Well, the doctor typically comes in and he either asks even deeper questions, or he feels you out. Like if you think you broke your leg, really, then they're going to check you out. They're going to do X-rays, and then they're going to give you this diagnosis. They're going to say, look, here's what, based on all the testing that we've done, all the questioning we've done, and their knowledge of medicine, here's what I believe you have. You have a broken foot, or you have the need to drink more water, or you need to get fit, or whatever it is they're going to diagnose you with. They're going to tell you what they think it is, like what the problem is, and then they're going to prescribe. Right? I started prescribing. Is that you get right, then you get into the prescription. But if you prescribe before you know, do you think very many people will go to the doctor? Like, you're going to want second opinions. Hey, dude, you didn't even check me. You didn't check my pulse. You didn't do a blood test. You didn't X-ray me. You're going to cut off my foot? No, right? So just think about that, right? The next time you're talking to somebody, realize to examine, diagnose, and prescribe. Right? In that order, okay? And that comes back down to what we're gathering, right? Back to the purpose. So what's a purpose? Like, what are the three things we need to gather? Well, first off, we need to gather the needs. Like, what do they need? Like, what is it that this individual needs in order to get to where they want to be? And if you're looking and talking with people sometimes they don't want their needs, right? All of us need to eat better. All of us need to get the right exercise. All of us need to improve ourselves, spiritually. All of us need to improve ourselves on a daily basis mentally. And so there's specific needs, but that's not always what we want, right? And so desire is typically the center of everything. Desire and that innate driver, what drives us to want something, is where we're at. But if we can pinpoint the desire, we'll be able to help the needs, okay? And that comes down to really good coaching. That comes down to really good sales. If you can determine these two things, most of the sale is over. And then lastly is the ability. If you know that they've got a desire and a need for your product, then it's just their ability. Do they have the resources? Do they have the money to do it? If it's a fitness program, do they have the time, right? Are they willing to put in the time to come and work with you? So these three things are huge when it comes down to your agenda and enrolling people into your product, and then getting them to stay, and then also just thanking you for enrolling them into what you're doing. So next up, let's talk about the ABCs of questioning again. I did a pretty good review in the video above, but I want to make sure you guys understand it. So here's the ABCs of questioning. A, broad-based questions. B, pointed questions. And C, direct questions. Okay? I kind of look at it like a tree, right? If, you want to get to the roots without killing the tree is the goal. But if we head straight to the roots, leaves start falling off, the tree gets old and dead. I want to find out what's down there, so I have to examine, okay, what's going on with the leaves? What on the surface is happening? Why are you coming to me for this? Or, like, for instance, let's bring this into, water, right? Hey, you called on my ad about my new super cool Essentia water, right? What made you desire? What made you do that? And the person might say, well, I'm looking for a better product, better drinking water, and I just feel the need to drink better. Okay, that's a surface need, right? And then B is more of a pointed question, right? And so the next question is, well, how long have you been drinking the water you've been drinking? Do you use any filters? So now I'm drilling down a little bit further. And then lastly, it's at this point, why do you want to make that choice? Like, what made you move forward in this directly, right? You're going to ask that direct question. That's how those questions work. So here's what I stated before is that most salespeople waste time learning rehearsed closes and zingers to battle objections, while professional salespeople learn to craft better questions that eliminate an objection or a concern before it is. Okay, just understand that a lot of what we do, we create in the prospect's mind. A lot of what we ask and a lot of what we say, telling isn't selling, a lot of what we say creates the confusion, creates the concern, creates the objection. And so if we learn to ask better questions in a proper manner, we're going to be able to eliminate that. Okay, so next up, press record. And here's what I mean by that is I literally want you guys prepared to record things. And think of yourself as a recorder. You could be a court recorder. You could be a reporter. Your goal is to gather as much information before you start prescribing, before you start diagnosing, before you start giving information away. You want to gather information so that it helps you target what it is you need to deliver. Okay? So here's what we're going to talk about. Right? What made you call my ad? Right? What made you opt in to my thing? What made you reach out? What made you send me a private message on Facebook? Like, what made you reach out? Right? The second one, what drew you to my ad? Like, what was it emotionally like that brought you in? And this would work for different personality types, right? So have you been involved with your thing, right, in the past? So meaning your thing, meaning like your thing, like whether it's your MLM or your product or your service. Have you ever been involved with X, right, in the past? Next, or like if it's like health and wellness, if it's like fitness, if I come here and I talk about fitness, it's like, have you ever been in the gym? Have you ever started a fitness program? Have you been on a diet? What you're doing is you're kind of unlocking where they've been so you can get a better understanding of what their needs are. And at the same time, it's very broad. Like, these are very broad questions. What's the big picture for you for this? Like, what's the big picture? Like, at the end of the day, or in the just at the beginning here, what's the big picture, right? Well, what's making you to make this choice? And then next year, well, what are you doing for a living now? Like, if you're looking to get them to transition into making money, if you're in like a financial MLM, or if you're in the process of helping somebody, generate wealth through, let's say, real estate investing, or becoming an independent rep with your company, or you're just curious, what are you doing for a living now? That's a great question, great opener, because it's going to give you some leading questions to build rapport with this person, but not in a way that you think you're becoming friends. Okay, friendship is not yet. Okay, some of these people might be your friends, but not yet. How long have you been looking? Right? How long have you been looking for? Like, you called me out. How long have you been looking for? Right? Just a broad question. And then lastly, ultimately, what are you doing with this? Right? Do you want to do this full time? Do you want to do this part time? Is this a lifestyle change you're looking to do for the rest of your life? Is this a fitness change you'd like to build the right habits? You're asking these initial questions. Now, we're going to get into broad-based questions that dig a little deeper, but this is the surface. This is the beginning of the broad-based questions, okay? Okay, so here's what I want to do is I'm going to give you a few questions here that are going to help you really drive this home and really understand. I'm going to give you a question in each one of these areas, broad-based, pointed questions, and then direct. And then what I'd want you to do is really sit down and come up with a line of questions in these different areas that would help you ask and get from surface to the root of the desire of this person to really provide the best service you possibly can. So here's a cool thing. So this is a broad-based question. Where do you want this to take you in your life? Like, where do you want this to take you in your life? I know that's an interesting question, but it's a broad question. And you're trying to just get them to open up, like, kind of like the question of, what made you call my ad? Oh, fantastic. How long have you been looking for? Oh, that's great. Where do you want this to take you in your life? Like, if it's for fitness, like, how do you want your life to change? Right? So we're trying to ask another question. If it's like a financial product, how do you want your life to improve by, studying Forex or by studying Bitcoin? I know that's a big deal out there. I'm not a Bitcoin guy, but but it is. It's a thing. And where do you want this just to take you with your family? Where do you want to take this for your future? right? So you're asking a broad-based question to get them to open up and start a kind of a dialogue is really what we're doing. And then we would get into some more broad or pointed questions. Here's another one. Are you okay with us structuring an initial plan to help you become more independent if you're accepted? Right? And so if you're going through like an acceptance process, if you're looking for people who are going to help you build your business, or if they're going to build, and you're a coach or you're a mentor, or you're trying to build your network marketing business and you're the leader, you want to you want to accept people, right? And you want to make them earn it. You want to make them do some work with you, right? And so that question helps you to really target them and help them see, one, you're there to help them structure an initial plan so they can become successful, and they can become still more free and independent of what they're doing. And then lastly, you're mentioning, hey, look, we're willing to do this as long as you're accepted onto our team. Cool. Now, as I'm moving into this, as I want to mention here, is I usually come up with a few questions that I use all the time. And what I would suggest doing is come up with 10, 15 broad-based questions in the beginning here and set them aside on a piece of paper. And then I'm going to have you do the same thing with the consecutive questions here, like the pointed questions. So pointed questions, how do you like to better experience life, right? How would you like to better experience life? Or how would you like your life to change? Or what are the experiences you haven't had yet that you want to have? And so I'm asking a bit more pointed question, because the answer to the other one could have been, I just want to have a better life. I've missed out on a lot of experiences that I could have had, and I'm ready to make a change. Or because my health hasn't been good, I haven't had the proper experiences, so I'm looking to change my health. You say, okay, how would you like to better your experience in life? So you're making it less about the product, right? We're making it about them. Like, we want to know legitimately, how do you want to experience life? I don't know how you want to experience life. I know how I want to experience life, but how do they? You don't matter right now. What you matter is gathering the information, okay? And so if you're able to gather the proper information at this point, they're going to fall in love with you, legitimately. And so now you're asking, more about them and what they want to accomplish and how important it is that you get this information, right? So you're asking that proper question. And so what I would do is I'd find different questions, right? And I'm not teaching a class in here on different personality types and things, but some of you may have already studied the DISC program or the STAR program, or some of those programs that are out there that help you with different personality types, right? Someone's more analytical versus someone who's more A-type personality. Somebody is more nurturing versus somebody who's more based on science and logic. So there's some different personality types you can build these around. But I would suggest doing that. For our one-on-one clients, what we do is we go on a deep dive of what their product is, and we build these what I call question scripts, question paths, and we do it for all the personality types. So you're not missing anything, but then once you start to uncover who you're talking to, you're able to ask questions in a way that they think, right? And it's just so much easier and a better conversation. You kind of have to become the chameleon at that point, right? Even though you may be a different personality type, if you can become a bit more of a chameleon to help them understand things, you're going to have better success and results by helping them get out of their own way, right? So what I want you to do at this point too is with some pointed questions. I want you to write down 10 or 15 pointed questions that are different but lead deeper into the conversation. And then let's move on. Next, direct questions. Now, these are questions that are going to be right there, direct on the money, right? So, what specifically is the difference you are looking for? You are looking to make, right? So, the line of questioning could have gone. The person's like, "Look, I've been overweight. I want to become, better," right? And then you ask the pointed question. Well, what does better mean to you? And then they say, well, I have kids and I want to experience life with them, and I want to go out there and, have these different experiences. You might say, hey, well, what specifically is the difference that you're looking for, on the money? What is it you want to make specifically? And they may just right there tell you again. They may reiterate what they want. Look, I want a healthier life. I want to live longer. I want to feel better. And that'd be for the fitness industry. If it's for a financial industry or another network marketing company that are out there, you're going to follow that line of questioning, and you'll be able to target in and hone in on the results that you're after with these folks, and you're going to gather a lot of information that's going to help them, right? So the question workflow is important in how to do this. And if you have these different questions in front of you on a sheet, then you're able to target it, right? And you're able to work with the questions that you've created that you know are going to help you in your thing, right? Get to where you want to be. And the agenda is really over like 3 to 5 questions, getting to the point of their desire, and then offering the result, offering the solution to that desire, that need, and then we'll be checking their ability, right? You want to check their ability. So let's work. So again, if you take a couple of minutes, write down 10 to 15 different questions, you'll be good with that. And then you can formulate broad-based, pointed, and direct questions.